Well, our next guest says there may be an unexpected side effect of this BP oil spill. Clean energy investment could actually be in danger. He's Michael Liebreich, the chief executive of Bloomberg New Energy Finance. That is our in-house group that advises some of the biggest hedge funds and also investment banks on energy. Michael, great to have you with us. And I know that you wrote this report on this, saying that this could be the Chernobyl for the energy industry. But what you're saying is that losing a player like BP could actually backfire on clean energy, right?
Well, that's part of the story, yes. BP is a very substantial investor in clean energy, so to lose their ability to put capital into the clean energy space would be a great shame, yes.
And they've spent, what, something like $800 million a year? Is that what you found?
Yes, that's right. They're investing of the order of somewhere just under $1 billion per year in clean energy. They've been doing that for some time. They've got some activities in solar, but mainly it's ethanol, alternative fuels, and then some wind activities that are pretty substantial and important. So they are a big player in the clean energy space, as well as obviously in oil and gas.
But couldn't others, I mean, at this point, particularly with this Gulf oil spill, couldn't others take up that mantle, and wouldn't they want to?
Oh, sure. The Gulf oil spill is probably a game-changing event for the energy industry overall. Obviously, all eyes, all focus right now on BP and its various partners.
Right.
But in the long term, it does make people think about the risks of fossil fuels and then the relative low risk of alternatives. So in the long term, it will shift the balance. But in the short term, you have this very important player that is going through very difficult times.
How quickly, though, when you say long term, I mean, we have to tell our viewers, we're talking, what, 20, 30 years for this sea change, right?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think it's much shorter than that, because
Why?
What this does, well, what's going to happen after this spill is all has been sealed and the cleanup has gone ahead? There's going to be a raft of new regulations that hit, particularly obviously deep offshore drilling. Mm-hmm. That pushes up the marginal the cost of the marginal barrel of oil. That's going to push up oil prices, and that shifts the economics, not in 20 years, but that shifts economics in the much nearer term in favor of the alternatives.
So then what should oil companies, because I know you talk to them very closely, what should they be doing? What should the boards be doing right now? Or what are they doing right now, if anything?
Well, the first thing they need to do is to look at whether they've got any risks in their system that are similar. I know right now that's one of the hot issues is, was this a BP problem or was this an oil industry problem? Mm-hmm. But what we've been saying, not only to the oil, not so much to the oil companies, but to the pension funds and the asset providers, is have you thought correctly about risk? Because the clean energy gets a bad rap because it depends on government supports and subsidies and structures around regulation. But has everybody really thought about the risks of fossil fuels, whether it's pollution risks of the sort of terrible events in the Louisiana coast,
so
or whether it's the Straits of Hormuz or other sorts of systematic risks on the fossil fuel side?
Michael, you're saying that because so that then they can demand that of the companies that they invest in, and that's where you start to get the change.
Yes, a lot of what's going on in the energy industry right now is pricing in all the externalities. So you've got to price in the cost of whether it's carbon, whether it's risk, whatever it is, really needs to be well understood by policymakers, by investors, by the companies themselves. Otherwise, they are exposed to these sorts of one-off black swan occurrences that has hit BP. Right.
This is certainly a black swan event, a tragic event. Michael Liebreich, thank you so much for talking about this, and really is sort of an outcome of this BP spill. He's the CEO of Bloomberg New Energy Finance.